Hello, hello, hello. My name is Luis. I'm here with Bilingual Broadway. I'm so excited to be here today. Bilingual Broadway is a new production company that aims to create content for bilingual speakers and Spanish speakers across the US. Again, thank you so much for being here. My name is Luis, and I'm going to start us off with a song. We do have an amazing guest today, Juanita Castro-Ochoa. I cannot wait to talk to you, but let's get started with a little something from The Little Mermaid, the Broadway show, not the movie. I hope that you enjoy. Here we go. Where did she go? Where can she be? When will she come again? Calling to me, calling to me, calling to me. Somewhere there's a girl who's like the shimmer of the wind upon the water. Somewhere there's a girl who's like the glimmer of the sunlight of the sea. Somewhere there's a girl who's like a swell of endless music. Somewhere she's singing and her song is meant for me. And her voice, it's sweet as angel sighing. And her voice, it's warm as summer sky. And that sound, it haunts my dreams and spins me around until it seems I'm flying. Her voice. Oigo carcajadas en las olas cuando tocan la orilla. Siento sus sonrisas y la noche se convierte en claridad. La siento esperando más allá del horizonte, con una melodía amorosa y sin piedad. Y su voz cantando en madrugada. Y su voz en el atardecer, con su luz siempre está ahí, firme y tenaz hasta que quede en nada. Su voz. Es tan peculiar, real, yo lo sé, si puedes escuchar. Libérame, come set me free. Oh my God, I love singing that song. Thank you. Thank you for watching. This is a quick reminder. If you're enjoying the content, please go ahead and share it on all of your social media. We're on Facebook, on Twitch, on Volume, and on YouTube. It would be much appreciated if you can share. And I also included my Venmo handle, which should be showing up under me, so that you can Venmo me if you want to send me a tip. But enough of me. It's time to bring Juanita into the room and have an awesome conversation. Here we go, Juanita. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Mi
Hello, hello,
amor.
hello.
Hi, mi vida. How are you?
Well, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for being with us. Where are you calling from?
I am calling from a little place called Florida, Los Miamis.
No, los Miamis. Oh my God. Juanita and I are both from Miami. Y,
Both from Colombia,
y los dos
but
Colombia,
raised
tierra querida.
but raised in Miami. I tell everybody, I'm like, have raised in Miami, porque have raised was in Colombia, entonces.
Right, right. I moved here when I was 10. How old were you when you moved here?
I moved here when I was 11 as well. Well, yeah, 11.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So very similar experiences.
Yes, yes, we left Colombia at the peak, 1999. I left Colombia.
2000
That's
for
long time
me.
ago. Oh,
And I
baby.
just told everyone my age. Thank you for coming.
It's okay. I take pride. I take pride. Hey, hello, 33 never looked better. So,
Yes, we look good. We look great. So you celebrated the new millennium here.
yeah, yeah. Oh my God. Yes, I did.
You were here
The
for
whole new Y2K.
Y2K.
Yes, I was, and I survived. We all did. The world didn't collapse. So,
We already thought it was gonna end.
yeah, it was like the weirdest thing. I remember I was freaking out, and I'm like, so what's gonna happen?
I
And
know. Ugh,
nothing happened.
nothing happened there. Well, no thing. I think things had because I think nothing had nothing happened.
I don't know. I thought
I
like yo nunca entendí. I was just like, I'm here for the ride. Where is my
look
food for New Year's?
right. I was not
My
a
12th
computer
grade, I had
engineer.
my,
Nada.
yeah, I had my suitcase ready because we Colombians, we had like 80,000 cosas que hacemos en el año nuevo. Like,
I have so
what do you
many.
do? Like,
I have
I
so
run
many.
around. You do the lap with the suitcase?
Yes, of course, to
Okay.
travel.
Yeah, of course.
And the
It has
suitcase
always
has
worked.
it has to be full, by the way,
Yes, and it has to be
because
very
if it's not
specific.
full, it's not real.
Yes, and everything that goes in there is very specific.
Oh,
So I
absolutely.
everything. So summer clothes, winter, everything. I want to see the whole world, everything.
Yes.
So
Yeah. What else do you do? You have to barrer la casa.
esa no la hago yo.
Oh,
Yo
you
creo
have to
que.
you have to clean. Yeah, you have to clean the house and
Oh yeah,
get everything bad comes out. What
and then
else? I
the
do so many.
underwear. We do the
The
underwear.
underwear. Yeah. What colors do
Yeah.
you do?
So I usually do yellow because I believe that I have love in life. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yellow is like for everything. Like to me, yellow just covers everything that I want in life.
But I think
So,
yellow's money.
well, baby. No, to me it's
Well, we
like
need
abundance.
that.
También, también. I also need that.
I
Yellow is
love
like
that.
abundance, I think. Para la abundancia.
Yeah, I feel like yellow is like money and abundance. I feel like green is like health of some sort. And I feel like
Green.
red is passion.
Yeah, red is like passion and love. But they have to be new. So
Yes.
good luck finding yellow underwear in New Year's in Colombia.
Right.
Doesn't
Will not
happen.
happen. Did you do okay, I'm calling out my sisters. Did you do the veils to get married?
No, what is that? You see?
I have full pictures of my sisters in veils because they wanted to get married that year.
No.
This is the shit that would freak white people out.
Oh my God, we literally have to write like a show about like just a New Year's Eve of like all the things that happen in New Year's, like how
Say
many like
less. I'm
Columbus
in
we
it.
go crazy
Yes.
with the grapes and everything. And there's like I'm always full by, and then I'm like shoving my face with those grapes. I'm like, no me caben más, but I'm like,
Right.
I need my 12 things, and then they're running. No, it's crazy, but
No. And then you have to hold the hand of the person you love.
yeah, it's a
And
long
then the
thing.
grapes. It's funny because most people are like, "Oh, Happy New Year!" Like, bye. I'm like, I have a 45-minute thing to get through. There's a whole routine here.
Yeah, and I also do like we do like the bill, que después lo tienes the whole year
Yes.
like on your wallet, and you're like, money,
Ugh,
please. I think Columbus want money. That's all we do.
I know.
Everything's for money.
Everything's money.
Abundance,
That's it. Oh my God.
abundancia.
Well, we of course also share that we're both theater artists.
Yeah.
And okay,
Mhm.
wait, I'm actually curious, and I didn't tell you we were gonna talk about this. Pero how did you find that? How did you find theater? Because I feel like I'm the black sheep in my family. Like, where did this come from? I'm curious.
So I always wanted to do it, but there was something is like that I was ashamed of. So like
Mm,
I was like never said anything or anything, and then it's gonna sound super cliche. Like I'm like I
no,
have
do it.
always been like very like empathy is what I live. Like
Mm,
it's like de verdad que tú sabes cómo soy yo con la empatía. So
sí.
it's like understanding people and stuff like that, and I love people. So I started doing psychology, and I loved everything that's behind psychology, like understanding like every human person, like human person, human being, and all of that. And then I took my first acting class my second semester of undergrad, and then it was a gift. I literally me regalé to take as an elective an acting class,
Wow,
and I took the class, and I was like, I'm
this
home.
is it. So it was like
I'm home.
acting. Wait, where did you go? Where did you go for undergrad?
So I started at BCC, Broward Community College, and
Yes.
then from there, like I said, I was in psychology. I was never a good student ever, ever at anything. Like
Same.
I barely graduated high school, so I was like,
Same.
what can I do? What can I do? My mom's a therapist, so I was like, okay, let me do psychology. And then I took the acting class. Like my birthday's in January, so I was like, that's gonna be my gift to myself to do
Yeah.
something that I always wanted, but I was always terrified of.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just felt like I was home and I loved it and since then. But then I
Yeah.
did go to FIU. So I
Yeah.
transfer and then I did my master's at the Actors Studio at
Yeah.
Pace. So I
Yeah.
and it was great. That's when school
Listen,
clicked
I
for me.
went to 4 different colleges for undergrad, so there is no shame. That's the path. But I do find it fascinating that you also like started later. Like I feel like our contemporaries and our colleagues are all like, well, I was Annie when I was 6. And like, oh well, I was Shrek when I was 10, and I'm like, I was I was hanging out, like I was riding bicycles when I was 10. Like I wasn't at all. This is not what I wanted to do at
Oh
all.
my God. Like and in my case, like I
Go ahead.
honestly like admire people do musical theater, but I don't do musical theater. So like
Hmm.
I don't like I even skip that thing. Like
Hmm.
I will never be like I was Shrek. No, o sea, nada. Um, so like I don't do musicals. So like that's something. The other day somebody asked me, "What's your favorite musical?" I'm like,
Do you have
and
one?
they're gonna take my. To be honest with you, I
It's fine if you
I
don't.
don't think I have one. Like I really don't think one that I'm like, oh, I'm like super passionate about this.
Mm.
So like I admire. Like it takes a lot. Like singing, dancing, and acting at the same time. Way. So
Thank you.
yes, round of applause to all of you.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you. Yeah, no, the thing that got me into musical theater was actually I always loved music. Even though I didn't sing or anything, like I just loved music. Um, and I mean, you know this about me. I wanted to be a reggaeton star. I think it can still happen.
are you ever gonna tell me your
Maluma
name?
has my career. I'm never gonna tell you my name, but I'm sure maybe someone in the chat will put it. Um,
Oh my God, please.
but what I gravitated to was the live performances. Like I was
Mm,
never super impressed with like albums that were recorded. Like I was always like, I want to hear the artist sing it live. That was
mm,
always my thing. And like the first concert I went to was, of course, Shakira, right? And like that changed my life, and I was like, oh my, like whatever that is, like I'm just so impressed that like somebody could do a show like that and like
mm,
sing it live and dance it live and do all these things. And then it wasn't until like way later in like high school that I discovered like musical theater, and the thing that got me about it was that it was live.
mm.
And I remember someone showing me a video of like Wicked or something, and me being like, "Oh wait, what do you like? This is like they do this like all the time." and that was the thing that I was like, okay, well, I have to do that because this is like one of the few, I like, as far as singing, one of the few forms of art that actually require you to do it live every time. That's what got me.
Like that's a bit of theater. It's like yeah, like the whole thing about being live and like I yo soy súper miedosa. O sea, como que I've always been like afraid of like a lot. It's weird. I am, but I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, acting has always been like the place that I'm like I can't be afraid. Like I
Mm.
have to overcome it. So like that's the difference. Like I love film, but the thing about theater is just like once I'm there, it's like if I jumped out of a plane.
Yeah.
No, not even that. Like if you're swimming, it's like I have to get to the other side. Like I
Same.
can't. Like there's no such thing. It's just like se me olvidó la línea, and here I am. No, it's just like okay, concentrate, concentrate,
Yeah.
be present. Like this is the moment and all of that. So like this adrenaline. It's like this pure sounds bad, and it's like this pure ecstasy. It's something
Yeah.
that you really have to experience it in
Mm.
order to I can't describe it. Like,
Yeah.
and I love that because I put myself in uncomfortable positions, and I think like I push myself to get out of my comfort zone, which is something like
Mm.
we always like also like we teach together. It's always that we talk to our students about. It's like where you are right now. It's because you already overcame, like you already skipped a comfort zone. So
Yes.
everything is like baby steps. You get to a place because you push yourself out of your boundaries and you got to this place and now this is a comfort zone. So how can I
Yes.
it's
And
like the whole
actually,
thing.
let's give the context. So we met because I'm your boss.
He is my boss, so let me behave. So I don't get fired. I'm kidding. Yes.
Yeah, so we both work. Well, you work in a bunch of places, but maybe
Yeah.
for people who are watching, I feel like most people know this about me, but maybe some don't. I've actually been an educator for over a decade at this point. And I've always been like in classrooms and in like after school programs, but also in school programs. And I've taught everything from theater to visual art to music to dance. I mean, I've taught it all at this point, at least once. So, and I'm also the program coordinator for Broadway for Arts Education, which is where we work.
We
And
love it.
Juanita, you were one of the very first people that I hired, and I could not be more thankful for you. You're
Mm,
just so
thank
wonderful,
you.
and yeah. So let's tell people about now what we do in the classroom. You teach a wonderful class in
So
acting.
yeah. So it's really I think that what I like about what I do is like we teach a class, but it's not really a class, so it's a club. So there's
Hmm.
actually a lot of freedom that comes from that. It comes
Yes.
from I like working with Bay with Broadway for arts education. Just I don't have to follow the rules of certain things. Like everything we do is just for our youth.
Yes.
Everything. It's like for their well-being. This is like, yes, I'm an artist, but I know how to. It's never about what I need or what I want. So it's something that it's. I like that I don't have the pressure of like I'm gonna grade them because like I've always heard this, and I even though like I went to grad school and all of that, and I put like 10 years going into like an education, like in acting,
Hmm.
just thinking about acting should be graded. How do you grade that?
Right.
How do I grade a student? Like,
Well, and
what grade can I give them?
okay, so that's super interesting because what I have found in my years of teaching is that there's a rubric that is created for grading. And that rubric follows whatever guidelines are set forth, but they tend to be, not they tend to be, they always are very Eurocentric guidelines. So then every piece of art, no matter who it comes from or where it came from, gets filtered through that rubric. And if it doesn't fit that rubric, then it is now considered wrong art, right? That's the wrong answer. You didn't do it right. You didn't pronounce this word the exact way, and if it's a Shakespeare thing, or like you didn't follow the music theory if it's music. So it became very apparent to me through my years of teaching that that was something that I needed to work on, and I needed to dismantle for my own classes and the spaces where I'm at. And that's something that I always offer to teaching artists and just people that work with me in any kind of education, is how do we now decolonize? And like that, I know that word is triggering, so let's take a moment. But it really takes work to decolonize the classroom when our own classrooms that we went to, the way that we were taught was also through those exact same rubrics,
Yeah.
right?
So it's
What
like
do you
that's
think?
the thing. Like I find that like I never thought about teaching. It was never in my plans ever. I never imagined myself like being able to teach. I'm like, what can I teach? Like, what am I good at? Like, but then I started thinking about the way that I was like what you say, what my classrooms were, my experience of like plus like really 10 years of like school, and I never. I'm kidding, I did. I had one teacher and she changed my life, honestly. And she's Cuban, and that's why. Because she will always be like, no,
There you go.
you're gonna do Shakespeare, not the way that we say, just be you. Show me your fire, show me your passion, show me all of that. And every time I acted like she just saw me for who I was, and she let me be me, and she knew that she cannot mold me the same way that she could mold other students because I come from a very different background. Because I
Yes.
have a certain knowledge, a certain experience. Like my life has been so different from everybody. So she really took the time to see each of her students. So like Jennifer de Castro
Mm,
Verde at FIU, I'm telling you, that was the first time that I was like, this is what it is. It's like you don't have to make everybody look the same, sound the same,
mm,
do the same. She just let me be me, and she
yes.
brought the best out of me. And as a teacher, I always say that it's like I don't want to change anybody.
Yes.
And it's so hard because this industry, they really want everybody to look the same. Like the whole thing with the accent is like grading. I had to take an AS class, Neutral American Speech class, and I will get graded on that. So what are my grades? Can I say house properly? Or no, I'm saying house. I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying the same thing. Does it have like a little different color? And that's something that I'm like extremely passionate about that. You know that. It's like
Same. Oh, same.
I think it's ridiculous that, and especially right now with everything that's going on, people are still asking people, okay, we're embracing color, but we want you to sound a certain way.
Yes.
It's like me as a Latina. We
Oh my God.
perfect Latina, yes. I am
Yes.
like I am like the definition of what Latina people think that it is.
Mm-hmm.
But then I started speaking to people like, can you just sound, can you make it neutral? I'm like, what's neutral? You want me to be white? Do you want me
That's
to sound
exactly right.
white?
That's exactly right. Yeah.
So it's like it's all of the things that I lacked and I wanted, that's what I bring into the classroom. I see my students. I want to hear their stories. I really want to hear the stories. I want to what they bring to us. And this past year, like we worked the whole year online, and I told Luis and I told my students that I was like, hey, I tried to look for monologues for all of you.
Mm,
There's nothing. I'm not gonna give you a monologue of a
right.
30-year-old white woman or the Latino monologue that it's the grandma.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna
Or
give
the
you the abuela
maid.
monologue.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. Right.
no.
Absolutely.
We are gonna create our own content and we're gonna create our own stories. And I want you to tell your stories. And that's how we're gonna change it. And we empower them. And I thought, like, the monologues that our students came up with were beautiful,
The best.
beautiful.
The best. And I think there's also something about and obviously like you and I are just two people. I mean, we're two complete universes, but like we still only hold our own experiences. But there is something very special about being in spaces where we share the same references with young people, right? I think that that's something that's really cool because, like, me growing up, again, I mean, again, I moved here when I was 10. There were pop culture references, TV show references, music references that I just didn't get because I just wasn't about it. Like, I was listening to like Cristian Castro and Shakira, and like I was watching what was that show? Familia, what is it? It was a Colombian show. Padres e Hijos.
Piracy goes, oh my God. I think that thing's still running. I
Oh,
think
I
so.
would die. I would die.
No, I'm
But
kidding. Don't quote me on that.
but those were my references, and so coming here and like all of a sudden like everything was new and people spoke a different language, not in like literal English or Spanish, but in references
In reference.
that I just
Yeah.
couldn't connect to. And then when I couldn't connect to them, I was perceived as dumb,
It's and that's
right?
something like I teach a lot of students that are immigrants that English is not their first language, or they speak Spanish at their house and they're
Right.
completely bilingual. And most of the students that I teach that come from like different countries, they're very smart. They're extremely smart, and they get here and they come from being like top of their class to being lost in a bunch.
Mm,
So they're used to doing all of their homework, and people just try to like feed them like it's okay, don't worry. But no, it's not okay. They want to do the homework. They wanna learn. They're
right.
eager to learn.
Right.
And they come from being top of the class to just being in the bottom.
Yes,
And
and
it's
there's
not
a
easy,
huge
especially like the
barrier.
age. Yeah, the age that we moved here. Like it was that. I was like, I remember I didn't speak English at all. At
Same.
all.
Same.
So
My very
and I was
first
putting a
experience
little
my very first experience in a American classroom was oh my god, I remember like it was yesterday. They brought me to the front of the classroom with a bunch of kids that all spoke English, and then an American teacher who didn't even turn out to be my teacher at the end, but he brought me up to the front. He showed me a picture of another classroom, like a cartoon picture, and pointed at things and asked me what they were called
in front of everybody.
in front of everyone. And so it was like he pointed at like a teacher. He was like, "What do you call that?" And I was like, "Profesora." Like laseño, that's laseño, that's real Colombian laseño. Um, and then I think he did that with like two or three other things, and it was like, okay, yeah, go to the back. Like, man, you failed. Like that was the first thing. Was like, wow,
And
failure.
the thing is like failure and then giving up. Because like
Yeah,
you have a beautiful window of like, okay, I understand that he does. So how can I be like profesora, teacher,
right. Even that, like,
instead of saying
connect.
like you're wrong? Exactly. It's like
Right,
profesora, teacher. Oh, teacher. That's it. I gave you 3 seconds. It took me
cool.
3 seconds to say like, hey, I'm the teacher, and that's how you
Exactly,
say it in English. So
exactly.
it's just like it's and once again, it's like they just give up. Like they just I was in a portable. In Florida, we have portables for those that are not in
Oh, we
Florida,
love a portable.
which are literally
We love a
trailers,
portable.
which are literally trailers. And I
Yes,
was
I was in
just
a
shoved,
portable too.
remember, horrible. And I was just shoved into this portable with a bunch of like Venezuelan, Colombians. I remember there were two kids from Pakistan, from Kosovo, and we were just there. We're a different universe. Like we had nothing to do with school,
Right.
no sports, nothing. We're just like left in the trailer over there, and that's it. And it was completely different.
So true. I've never even thought about this, but you're totally right because I even remember my very first music class here. Um, okay, so that was the fourth grade when I moved here because I finished fourth grade in Colombia, so I had to repeat a little bit of it here because I came in March, so you had to repeat a little bit. And then in fifth grade, I was put in an all Spanish speaking class, which was, my God, the best thing that could have happened to me. But I remember like the music teacher being really rude to us because he was like, well, I can't teach you what I teach all the other kids. So he was teaching us like the little, what is that called? Like the little thing that the
Yeah,
little instrument that you play with like
yeah,
kindergarten. And he was like upset. He was like, well, we can't pick up anything else because y'all are so dumb. Like this is the only thing you can do.
exactly. So that's the thing. It's like, and
Crazy.
kids are lacking on education. It's like take the time, and that's every. I know. Don't get me like started with like teacher salaries and stuff like that. Like people don't know how much like teacher planning is and all of that. But it's also,
Hmm.
I think it's a job that if you sign up for it, you have a certain responsibility, and you
Absolutely.
have to honor the responsibility. And it is hard. And like for us, like switching from one day to the other, from having to do it in person to do it completely online virtually, it was a challenge, and we had to do double the work, and we had to relearn and all of these things. But guess what?
Yes.
It's for them. How do I make it about them? How do I give them that hour in the afternoon that they could be, they could interact with other students?
Yeah.
Because they don't sit and we don't lecture, we play together. I'm never, and that's something that I love about like the way that both of us teach. And I'm sorry that I'm speaking for you, but it's, we're never the teachers because all of
Correct.
us are artists. So we're collaborating. And I need you to spark something in me, and I'm gonna say something that hopefully sparks something in you, and I need you to say it. So it's an ongoing thing. You're gonna spark the same thing on the other students. So we're collaborating, and I don't teach, we just work together.
Yes.
And it's something that it's so important.
Yes. And the agenda is also looks so much different because our
Hmm.
agenda is not like, can you meet um these rubric categories? Can you say it this way? Do you have this structure? Are you hitting this note? Like that's not our rubric. Our rubric is like, can you collaborate?
Yeah,
you
can you
know can
collaborate? And then
can how do
we
you
talk.
feel about being in a leadership role? Like that's our rubric.
Yeah. And then we talk about like what are students. I don't teach acting to create artists, like not to create because like actually I can't create an artist. I can't.
Right.
So like I don't teach with the expectation that all of my students are gonna come out of it and they're gonna be all artists or actors. No. I teach in a way that I'm like, this is for us to have fun. This is for us
Hmm.
to find the strengths, the things that we could use in the real world. And what's going to
Right.
happen after you graduate? How are you going to use these communication skills? How are you not going to be like afraid of speaking in public? Like all of the little things and the tools that we give them that they can
Mm.
apply to their daily life. And
Yes.
that's what I teach. And the aftermath of all of that is a sensibility that comes from being an artist. So they
Mm.
do get that sensibility. They do get that power, the courage, the passion, the imagination, the all of it. But it comes from
Hmm.
giving them tools that they could use like in their everyday lives. And we see it. We see how different,
We do.
how good they do in school.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And then I was like, don't worry so much about school. It's not that I say that, but I'm
Yeah.
like, no, like let's
I keep it
focus
real
on this room
sometimes.
right now. Yeah.
Yeah. I have fully said to a student that was too stressed about college, college doesn't matter. I mean, if it's stressing you out to the point where like you can't sleep at night, something's up,
Yeah.
you know? And something else I wanted to bring up too is that, because you just kind of mentioned it too, something that is so toxic in the spaces that we grew up in, as far as like acting training or music training, it's also this like super toxic language of like, well, if you want to be a professional actor, well, this is what you're going to have to do. If you want to succeed, if you want to make it on Broadway, you have to like eat, sleep, and like blah 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 musical theater, and like you have to put yourself through like all the rigor, and you have to pay all of your dues, and you have to let everybody treat you like absolute trash for like 5-10 years before you're worthy.
I know. And it's like, what's
How
worth?
toxic.
Who gives you the value? Again, that's something like, and then once again, it's like I heard it. I heard all of that. It's like you have to pay your
We all
dues.
did.
Yes. Yeah, I do hustle, of course. Like I'm not expecting like, and I do work hard and all of this, but at the same time, it's like whose approval? do I need?
Mm,
Who gives me the title? Hey, you are an artist. Hey, you are an actress.
right.
Who gives me that? Like, an artist doesn't need that title.
Mm-hmm.
An artist doesn't need the approval. And it's something that it's easier said than done because, like, I'm not gonna lie, I still am like, the rejection and all this thing,
Right.
and I
Same.
get
Same. Same.
nervous when
Same.
I do audition, and then I can, like, before the audition, I'm like, power all of this, and then I'm like, oh, you sense the room. You're like, they don't like me right
Yeah.
away with the
This is
accent or
not
something like
mine.
that. Yeah.
This one's
So,
not
but
for
it's
me,
that. It's
sis.
like,
Which is something that I the one well, there's a couple of things I miss about live auditioning, but that's one of them. The immediate sense of like they were feeling me or they were not feeling me.
but I get that immediately when I do Zoom auditions. I know exactly what room I walked in, what room I zoom into. I know it.
Mm,
And I could tell just by the way that I say my name.
mm.
And oh, it took me, I used to say Juanita, and then I had like a
Same,
beautiful
mama.
mentor, and then she was like, excuse me, did your mom name
Per
you Juanita?
permiso.
See, Liza Colon, she's like this fantastic
Yes.
actress because Liza, she's like an amazing actress. Like I admire her like as an artist so much. And she was like, no, I couldn't hear you. I'm not asking you to say it because I was like, Juanita. And she was like, what was that? And I was like, oh, Juanita, Juanita. No. Did your
No.
mom name you Juanita? No. She named you Juanita. So if somebody doesn't understand or they cannot say, like, say it again.
Period.
So she was like, what's your name? I'm like, Juanita. She was like, that's how you're going to say it because your name is Juanita.
Life
And
changed.
like, that's what I'm saying. Like, and I go into rooms and I'm like, Juanita Castro-Ochoa. And I'm like, you could see people like on Zoom. They're like,
Mm,
so I sense it. I do
mm.
sense it still.
Oof. That's a lot. Well, I
Hmm.
think it's time for you to show us a little something of what you do. How about that?
Yeah.
So, wait, I'm
Yeah.
actually excited because this is the first time I have someone not perform a song. So, you are the
Really?
very first guest to perform a monologue
Oh,
for
thank
us.
you. Thank you. Now make me nervous.
No, please, por
Not kidding.
favor. I
No, no,
know how
no.
much you kill. But before you do that, I just want to remind people if you're enjoying, please share on all of your social media. Also, my Venmo is right below me, right there. And Juanita's Venmo, you can see it in the ticker below. So if you're enjoying, please go ahead and send us money. We're poor and we didn't get stimulus checks. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Ready, Juanita?
Yeah.
I'm gonna spotlight you. Here we go.
I wanted to believe. See where I come from. If you have faith, God takes pity on you and He makes everything okay. Like He takes His hand and He reaches into your head and He captures whatever picture you hold there. If you imagine it just right, He sets His hand down. He sets the picture free. He makes it real. You just have to believe. That's the first rule of faith. I told my mother we could imagine Alex healthy, just like she taught me. That together we could create this powerful image of him. You can see him right there. So beautiful. I don't know where it went. Has that ever happened to you? That somebody you love dies and you can't see them anymore? Let's see.
Yes. You and I need to do. What am I gonna say?
Betty la
Yes to that one too. I think I'm gonna have to write it.
you do. You really gonna have to write that one.
Hello.
Please do so.
Yo soy así. Ta-da.
Ta-da.
Oh my god. That novela like really means a lot to me. Because also it was the only thing connecting me to Colombia when I moved
Ay,
here.
because they were playing it here too. I wasn't allowed to watch novelas,
Well,
so
because I started it there and then I moved here and it didn't it hadn't started here. So I thought I was never going to be able to watch it. And then they started to show it here in Telemundo. And I don't know if you remember, but they actually caught up to the timeline in Colombia.
like I said, I wasn't allowed to watch novelas. Like my mom was super strict with that. I don't know why, but
Wow.
yeah,
Well,
too
rewatching
much
it, I
drama,
mean,
maybe.
there was a lot going on that novela. There was a lot of naughtiness, and I mean, Patricia Fernandez
Vagabundes.
alone.
No, El Jabón Chiquito. I think I watched a few episodes and I'm never gonna forget. Like, was it Freddy? I think it was, and then Rosa. What is her name?
Oh, which one?
She was one of the secretaries, and like they were having like an affair, and then they were like,
Ahora Maria.
she always Aura Maria, and they always used to mention that they smell like small soap, like the
Yes,
little
a
soap
jabón
thingy.
chiquito.
Yes, jabón chiquito. And I never got it. And then like I don't know who was the person that was like, you know what that means, right? I'm like, no, it's like in motels you don't have a whole thing, so you have like
It's
the
just the
little
little
soap.
one.
So it means that they were just spending the night doing the nasty, and that's the only thing they had to watch. So I don't know what that like. I think because I was like very young and naive that I was like, jabón chiquito. That's what it means.
Well, let me tell I did not get that when I was 10. I got it now. I just finished rewatching it now. I mean, there's a lot happens in that novela. And Patricia
Yeah.
Fernandez is, by the way, a gay icon. Let's talk about it. She
Hmm.
made me who I am today.
She's amazing. No,
She's
they're great.
amazing.
Yeah.
But actually, I was gonna say a play that you and I need to do is Night Train to Bolina
Mm,
by Nilo Cruz.
we have to.
I'm gonna put it out in
Yeah.
the universe.
Please, 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 please. I would love that.
That
I
would be a
love
really
that.
good
Like
one. Where was that monologue from?
it's from. I love it. It's this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful play called Barrio Hollywood, and it actually has two versions. There's a
Oh,
Spanish version and there's an English version. So
look at God.
it was written by Elaine Romero, and she wrote it in Spanish and she also wrote it in English. And it has like the first time that I read that play, nobody knows about it. I don't know how it came to be. Like honestly, I finished and I was crying because it just has the mixture of imagery, and she's a folkloric Mexican dancer. Like she dances
Mm,
folklore Mexicano, and there's there's scenes that is just her on stage. Like I don't think I can do it because like I'm not Mexican. I don't dance folklore, but there's like some I would love to really produce this play because like there's this scene and she has like this candle and it's just like the images and like the power of objects. Like as an
mm.
immigrant, objects have so much power. Like everything holds source and the things that like mean so much to us that like carry so much weight. And I don't know, like I love that play. Like highly, you should read it. You'll
I
be
will.
great as the brother. He's a boxer. I always told Marlon that he should do that play. Marlon is my
Who's
fiance.
Marlon?
Marlon is my fiance. He's an amazing actor as well, and he boxes. So I'm like, you should do this play. So one day I might produce it.
We like Marlon here.
Yeah, me too. Me
um,
too.
tell me what was the last play that you really loved that you saw?
The
I'm putting you on the
last,
spot.
oh my god. So the last play I saw was right before. Funny enough, I had tickets for. I'm gonna butcher names. I'm not good with names. 72 miles to go, I think it was, and that was like the Thursday that Broadway shut, so I
Ah,
couldn't go, which was it's fine. But then the like 2 weeks before that, I went to see Medea. at the, how can I not remember right now? In Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Oh my God. It was huge. Like a friend of mine was in it, and it was just like the way that it was directed and the way that like the scenery and like it was directed by like it wasn't the, I'm sorry not to be me, but
No,
it
it's
wasn't
okay.
like American theater, that it wasn't about the lights, it was just about, it was so raw, which is what I love about theater, how raw it can be. And it was like in the dirt, and then at the end, like when Madeira kills her kids, literally it's just ashes.
Shocking.
Shocking. Spoiler alert. If
Yeah.
you, it's just ashes. And ashes came from the like the roof,
Uh,
and like it was just ashes and ashes and ashes, and like the stage is just white. It's bare. There's nothing in the stage, and there's just a pile of ashes. And she's like, ah, it was just beautiful. Like I loved it. I was like, oh my god, this is the type of theater I want to do. Please let it be raw.
oh
Let
my
it be.
God.
Yeah,
Wait,
it
I
was really
have to
beautiful.
ask you. I don't know if you saw it. This might be controversial, but we're gonna do it. Did you see our dear dead drug lord?
No, but I know somebody that was in it, and I refuse to see it, which could be bad. But then I'm like, I just read the premise of it, and I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not interested. Which like to whoever wrote it, to whoever acted in it, like
Mm-hmm.
good for you. But there's just, and that's the change that I want to see. I
Mm.
am tired, like being Colombian, like I am tired of just like having this one story being told. There's
Thank
so
you.
many beautiful things you could talk
Thank
about. Just
you.
that by that title, I was like,
Yes.
no, like
Yes.
what was it about? It was like the premise. I think it was like this group of girls that they were like trying to like la Ouija. No, it wasn't something like that.
Yeah,
Like
it
they were like
was.
trying to summon the spirit of like Pablo Escobar and all of this. And then I was like,
Yeah, it's like four high
I
school
I
girls
don't,
that were
yeah,
summoning the spirit of Pablo Escobar.
yeah.
But
I'm sorry, I don't want to summon his spirit.
yeah,
So I was like, I'm not interested. So
yeah,
I really, like I said, like congratulations to everybody who was part of it. But I didn't see it. Did you see it?
I did see it.
And how was it?
It was an experience for sure.
Okay, okay.
I would like to read it again. I would
Read
like to
it.
read it. I would like to read
Okay.
it.
Oof, which is another thing. Like oof, the difference about reading and
Yeah,
seeing.
because it was a very graphic show as well, and
Okay.
I think that it should have come with a lot of trigger warnings, which it did not come with. Um, and I think I would have maybe appreciated more if I read it, but I did appreciate. Here's what I did appreciate. I did appreciate a play with a premise. I did appreciate a play with Latino people written by someone who is Latina, a Latina woman, by the way. Um, where there was like this tinge of horror attached to the
Ooh,
play. So I really appreciated that. That it wasn't like a super uh what's the word, like artificial comedy, which I feel like happens a lot with Latino pieces that get produced, are like the really funny ones with the over the top characters and the
no,
yeah,
yeah.
you know, like that.
Oh, trust
Or
me, I've done a lot of UNESCO maids, and that's exactly
yes,
like the absurd theater.
yes, and things that like end up relying on stereotypes and racism and things like that. And or the other side of it is like the complete like drug cartel
Mhm.
stories. And I felt like this one didn't live in either of those, even though like
Nice.
the Pablo Escobar sort of like thing was there, but like it was much more about the girls.
Okay,
So
so
I
that's it. Like
appreciated that more.
I wish that's why I said like I didn't see it, but just like the title, it's like I don't know if I want to go. But in another note, that's something that also like attracts a lot of audience members as well,
Right.
because it's like a little plug there.
Oh, for sure. I mean,
So
you're
yeah,
working with something that is instantly recognizable. So at least
Yeah,
you know that you're gonna know one character essentially.
yeah,
Very interesting, and also takes place in Miami.
yeah. I know. Like I said, like one of the girls, she's from Miami. Like I know that one of the girls was
Mhm.
like one of the actresses is from Miami.
I think
She's
a
a
couple of them
phenomenal
were.
actress. Yeah. So like I was like, but also like I was in grad school, and grad school means no time for anything. But
Yes. Where did you go for grad school?
I went to the actor studio
How
at
was
Pace
that?
University. It was I had beautiful teachers. Can't say that I didn't like. There's so many like teachers that I loved. I I think that we have to. When I use the metaphor, I love metaphors.
Go ahead.
It's like yerba mala, right? Like if you try to take out the weeds, like you have to pull it out of the roots. And unfortunately, the education system, especially when it has to do with theater, it's rooted in something that curriculum wise. Like I'm gonna speak for theater history, right? The plays that we had to read. It's not only that my professor chose them, it's the curriculum he has to teach.
Mm.
So it's like I cannot just like peel apart my teacher. I have to peel apart
Right.
the whole thing,
The
like
whole
take it out of
system.
the roots. Does it make sense? So like
Absolutely.
I had amazing teachers, but at the same time, once again, I've been in school for 10 years and I only had one Latino teacher. And she was like the one that actually was like the one that I'm like
Yeah.
that I was just praising. Besides that, nobody looked like me.
It's so
No one.
interesting because I went to Florida State University, which does have like a very good theater program. And of course, we had to take 2 full semesters of theater history. And I think the only thing that we did that was like had a tinge of Latino or Spanish was maybe
Lorca.
Lorca.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Um,
you probably did Life is a Dream,
Life is a
which
Dream,
is
of
like
course.
a
Yeah, right.
classic, and
Right.
then Lorca.
Yeah.
So
Um,
that's what I'm saying, like what the
but
textbook
it's
has.
like, is that it's that, and I went to again, I went to Florida State University, where at the time Dr. Irma Mayorga, who is, oh my god, a being of another planet. I really love her. She's Mexican, and she put it on herself to teach a Latino theater class. And she like literally pulled me by the arm one day and was like, "Hello, you have to take this class. Like, I am not giving you an option. You have to take this class." And when I took that class, when I tell you my mind was all the way blown outside of my head, because I was like, why are they not teaching this? Like, this isn't even like beneficial to me. This is beneficial to everybody. When they taught me about Los Vendidos and Teatro Campesino, I was like, hell, like this is American. This should be considered American classic.
Yeah.
And for those that don't know, let me give you a little bit of freeeducation.com. Teatro Campesino were the farm workers, the Mexican farm workers, who would put on shows on the side of the road behind their trucks for themselves, for their own communities, and it was mostly satires of their bosses. And it's like, and they're really good. There's a whole book of them. These are plays that are published. And I'm like, why don't we ever teach that? Like, we are so concerned with Shakespeare, and we are so concerned with the Greeks and stuff, and like, why are we not teaching this is American right here? And I'm not saying don't come for me, don't cancel me. I'm not saying don't do Shakespeare and don't do the Greeks, but I'm saying, why is there no space to do this one
You
as
know
well?
what I
And that's
think?
just like one example.
I think it's also like the rephrasing of everything. It's like I don't think that theater history should be named theater history, and that's like a broad thing because like you're
Amen.
saying that this is this is the history of
All
it.
of
No,
theater, right?
no, exactly. You don't get to own. Let's use the
Yes.
word that we say like triggering. Like you don't get to colonize theater. because you're
Yes.
saying that only the things that matter are like these things that we're showing you right now. No,
Right.
there's like theater, every culture has some sort of theater. Like, how did it
Yes.
start? Like, around the fires, like people coming and like talking about like, so don't use that word like that. I think that in my case, I was in a 3 year program, which 3 years is a lot.
Yes.
3 year program, and they just give us theater history 3 semesters, and that's it. And I'm like, no. So take the time. I I wish I had that opportunity, or have it
Oh
as
my
a
God. You
bring
would have
somebody,
lived
bring
your
somebody that's like
life.
an, exactly, that is like, we're offering this theater, we're offering no theater, we're offering
Yes.
like all of this different types of theater that exist, but it's like putting the label of like, this is the only thing that's good,
Yeah.
this is the only way, and this is like, and I love some of the plays like that I read, and I think that
Same.
it has like what it has with the Greeks, it makes you understand like the process and like the how it has progressed and like all of that. And like, I read this play for this company, theater company in New York City. They're amazing. Um, Flatline Theater, Flatline, and it was last week, and I was reading it, and it's just like, I read like this playwright did this play. I don't know if I can talk about it, so I'm just gonna say two things about it super fast. I was reading the play. I was like, oh my god. I told him, I was like, this was like Don Quixote with a mixture of like no exit, with a mixture of waiting for Godot, with a mixture of like, and I was like, this Puerto Rican man took all of those things and put it into his own
I love
mix,
that. I love
his
that.
own alo. Like, he literally made his own spice. And he was able to do all of that because he has also studied all of the things that we just mentioned. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying take it away. I'm not saying, I'm just saying rephrase it.
Same. Yes.
So the same thing like with the neutral American speech, like don't call it neutral. It's like, what's neutral?
Mm.
Call it an accent class. That's an accent, a dialect class.
Right.
And it shouldn't have to, like in my case, like in my school, like people that took the class were only Latinos, were the
Mm-hmm.
immigrants, and then a black student.
Mm-hmm.
She was in the class,
Right.
and that's it. And like,
Because the message is, well, this one is normal and everybody else is
yeah,
abnormal.
exactly. So you're the one that it's like that it's wrong, and like, no, being, oh my God, don't get me started. Like the whole thing about like in schools, it's, we go back to what are the words that they're putting. Unfortunately, like in my school, they did everything we submitted for to do for thesis was rejected.
Mm.
Everything, because the group that we created as for a thesis was like a girl, like one of my friends, she's from Iran. Marlon, my fiance, he's first generation Ecuadorian. I'm Colombian, then a Puerto
Mm-hmm.
Rican girl, then a guy first generation from Jordan, and then a Turkish, like this guy from Turkey, and like we didn't fit anything. And the solution for everything was just like, oh, you're gonna do UNESCO, an absurd play because like that's the only
Mm-hmm.
thing that you fit in. And I was 3 years in grad school, and I played an UNESCO made twice. Don't get me wrong, I loved it. I killed it. Give me something, and I'll bring it to life.
Well, because we're not mediocre.
Exactly.
Because
But
we are talented and we know how to use our
yeah,
skills, etc.
but
But that
we
doesn't mean the
did.
material could
Yeah,
also not be elevated to meet our standards.
exactly. And we brought like there's so many amazing playwrights that write
Yeah,
for us, but they cannot be done. Because
right.
you know why, unfortunately? Like now that I think about it, it's like the teachers don't know how to teach a directing student how to direct a play that is Latino or Latina. A
Correct.
play that it's not
Correct.
it, it's to the job. Like and I'm saying like I don't know, it's like so many things. But they did do a show to throw some shade, and that's like the things that like I'm like always like they did do a show that the main actress was Jennifer Ramirez,
Mm.
and she wasn't a Jennifer Ramirez. That wasn't my role. I can't play that
Mm-hmm.
role. But my Puerto Rican friend, the description of the character is her. Short hair, like it's her. But they did give it to another actress that it's not Latina.
Mm.
But then we couldn't do anything else. That's what I'm saying. It's like Where can we play fair? When it is believable to see somebody that it's not Latina and you could bring in like, oh, they're Argentinian, you're absolutely right. Because not every Latino looks the same. And that's something
Correct.
that we also have to talk about. Not
Correct.
every Latino has brown eyes, brown hair, and has an
Yeah.
accent. Not every Latino speaks Spanish.
Also, not every Latino is light skinned.
Exactly. So it's like all of the things that it's like what it is to be Latino. That
Yeah.
give me your definition. Why do we have to be like so? But yeah, I could go on for
Amen.
forever.
I know.
But
We listen. We could talk for 3 hours, and
yeah,
we have before.
but I do give you something that it's like as a human being, I live my life by gratitude because that is myself like the my defense mechanism, and
Mm,
I rather just that's who I am, and I'm not saying that everybody should do the same thing, but it's what works for me. Instead of like sitting here and like damning the sky for everything that happened to me and has happened,
right.
because I sit back and I do see everything that was broken and everything that was bad. I'm just like, you know what? Let me just stick with the good things that I got out of it. And like I'm
Absolutely.
saying, not everybody has to live it that way. But I, Juanita, I live by gratitude.
Hmm.
So instead of like focusing on that, I focus on I'm a snap, I'm a assassin, like all of
Mm,
the good teachers that I did have. And the people that I met along the way. And what I did for myself, which was drop everything in Miami, go with una mano en la atrás, no money to New York City, and
that's it.
just to school. And here I am. Like, it's been 5 years in New York City. Like, acting pays my bills.
Right.
Either it be in front, like, be filming something, or be on stage, or just empowering, embracing art and the beautiful people that I get to spend, and I'm so fortunate to spend space with, which are our students. But
Yeah.
acting pays my bills. So I that's what I'm saying. It's like I am
Absolutely.
grateful that I took that chance. And there's bitter things, but
Yeah. And there's certainly a lot of opportunity,
yeah.
right?
And
I mean,
you know what's the thing
the
with
whole
yeah,
reason why I started this is for opportunity,
yeah.
right?
And the gratitude thing is also like as a teacher, is just I don't want to pass down the anger that I have to my
Correct.
students, because then it becomes a vicious cycle. So I tell them my experiences, because we all learn from experience. And maybe there's a place that I'm like, I should have done this, because that's what comes for me. This should
Mm,
have. I should have said something at the moment. Well, guess what? You didn't. Can I go back in time and change it? No. So what can I bring from this? I learn. And that's what I tell my students. Hey, if somebody says this to you, you don't have to take it. Don't disrespect people, but be like,
mm-hmm.
hey, I don't feel comfortable with you calling me this. Or hey, what's wrong with my English? I'm speaking English. That
Mm-hmm.
doesn't make me smarter. Like nothing. I am speaking English. So it's like setting boundaries. And that's what I learned that I wish I had done. I wish I had set boundaries.
Oh, same. Same.
But
I mean, I'll tell this story. Ooh, ooh, this story is triggering, but and I won't say names, but when I was about to graduate college, the one of the very last things that was said to me by leadership of the college was, if you don't go to speech therapy for your speech impediment, you will never work. And like, I wish I oh my god, I wish I could have had the wisdom I have now to say like, whoa, there's a boundary here that I'm setting for myself where you can't say that to me, right? Like,
setting
check what
boundaries.
you're saying. Check what you're saying, because you just called it a speech impediment, not even an
Crazy.
accent,
It's
right?
crazy. And it's like the setting boundaries that we have learned along the way. And it's like going back to why I teach, because I want to
Yes,
be able to tell my students, hey, it's okay to say no. Hey, it's okay to say this is very disrespectful. It's
yes,
okay to I'm sorry, it's not a speech impediment. How
Mm-hmm.
many languages do you speak?
Correct. Thank you.
So it's like I'm actually gonna. Sorry, I have to like yesterday. Like I was doing. It said. I heard it from my phone. I was talking about like being bilingual, right? And
Uh-huh.
it says I can communicate with 437 million Spanish speakers
Mm.
and 1.5 billion English speakers around the world. So it's
Ah,
not an impediment. It's not a speech impediment. I'm telling you that you can communicate with
it's a superpower.
four. It is a superpower. And once again, it's the labels and what we call things. And that's what decolonizing is. Like, no, theater history is not this. This is Europe, like
Right.
English, let's call it like
Yes.
from England, like
Yes.
English theater.
Eurocentric. Right. 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 Yeah. Well, you know what? I think that's a great place to end today. Being bilingual is a superpower. And
It
I
is a
need to know what
superpower.
those numbers are.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna send you the picture. I was like,
Please do.
I
Please send
took
it
the
to me and
picture and I was like,
I'll make sure to post it on Instagram and
it
all
is
of my socials.
crazy. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Juanita, so much for being here.
Thank you for
Where can people
having
find
me.
you?
Oh my God, you can find me on the streets in New York City. No, I'm kidding. That sounded so bad. Okay, being bilingual, that's one of the things that sometimes we say things that like I'm like,
Yes.
no, that it
Yes.
just I sexualize things without wanting to sexualize things, but no. You can find me in New York City on a station Instagram, like everybody, at Juanita Castro-Ochoa. Yes, I have two last names, always and forever.
That's
I
right.
have to honor
You've
my
got to
mom.
own it.
I have to honor my mom as well.
Well, also a Latino culture thing. Like we
Yeah,
have to. I have two last names as well.
yeah.
I
I
find it
took a
fascinating that here that's a security question. Like, what is your mom's maiden name? I'm
I'm
like,
like, mijo, it's right there. You
it's
just read it.
everywhere.
And some people
Thank
don't even
you.
know their mother's
It's
maiden name.
crazy. I'm like, what?
Yeah, yeah.
That is
Thank you.
insane.
Oh, thank you for having me. Honestly, I love this. Please, let's make being bilingual and Spanglish a thing because
That's it.
it is.
Y
It
punto.
is. Y punto. Y he dicho.
Caso cerrado. All right, mi amor. I'm gonna take you off the live now.
Bye.
Bye bye. Oh my God. Well, that was Juanita Castro-Ochoa. When I tell you I love that woman, I love that woman. Once again, if you feel inclined to share this on your social media, please do. If you feel inclined to send me or Juanita a tip, our Venmos are listed below. And I'm gonna end today with a little song by Sin Bandera. I absolutely love this song, and I love singing it, and especially now that there are so many of us who are far away physically from people we love. Um, this is Kilómetros by Sin Bandera. A varios cientos de kilómetros puede tu voz darme calor igual que un sol y siento como un cambio armónico va componiendo una canción en mi interior. Sé que seguir no suena lógico, pero no olvido tu perfume mágico en nuestro encuentro telefónico. He recordado que soy loco por ti, que todo el mundo cabe en el teléfono, que no hay distancias grandes para nuestro amor, que todo es perfecto cuando te siento tan cerca aunque sé tan lejos. A varios cientos de kilómetros, en un secreto que decirte mi dolor. En cuanto cuelgues el teléfono, se quedará pensando mi corazón que todo el mundo cabe en el teléfono, que no hay distancias grandes para nuestro amor, que todo es perfecto cuando te siento tan cerca aunque estés tan lejos. Que todo el mundo cabe en el teléfono, que no hay distancias grandes para nuestro amor, que todo es perfecto cuando te siento tan cerca aunque estés tan lejos. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time. This is the Bilingual Broadway show. Bye.